As we were looking at the evolution of the Recovery Act, first with the House bill, my team in Pennsylvania was getting extremely worried with regard to the expectations for what would have to happen with this money. And, you know, we were really, conflicted, happy that we were getting lots of money, but really, really concerned about the challenge. About that time, I was traveling with my family, and I went for a run on a course I'd never been on. And I was out about 20 minutes or so, and I came to this series of hills. And as I got to the hills, I felt this was going to be pretty challenging because I wasn't sure how far they went up and where they went. And I thought of what my friend Tommy Donnelly, the track coach at Haverford College, used to say when we were training with him. He used to say, you know, every hill is an opportunity to get better. So his attitude about hills was, you run every hill hard, you just be aggressive, and you get better. So when you're on the flats, you feel terrific. And I took that thought back to my staff, and I said, you know what? This is a series of hills, but you know what? We've trained very well in the last 6 years. We've really put together some systems in place that are going to be enormously helpful. And I think that's true of many of you in the audience, maybe all of you. We are ready to do this, and we're going to do a damn good job of this in this time. And please, I think our message has to be, we can handle it. Don't worry about it. We're going to work on it. We're going to get it done. And why should we have that confidence? But I think there's many reasons. In Pennsylvania, it's because of our investment in SectorWorks, and many of your states have done the same thing. Many of your cities have done that. We have 75 industry partnerships, a tremendous resource, 6,000 employers involved in our industry partnerships. When people say, well, you know, how do you know where the jobs are? We said, well, we'll just go to our industry partnerships and ask them and see what's going on with them. We have 60,000 people we've trained through those partnerships, incumbent workers, in the last 4 years. And in many cases, those trainees, because of the skills they've developed, have been able to avert layoffs because their companies are stronger. We've also implemented high-performance standards for our local boards. And so we needed to challenge our workforce investment boards and say, you know what, if you're not the regional strategic workforce development organization in your area, then we're going to find a new one, because that's your job. Your job is not WIA implementation. Now, I can't say that 100% of those folks stepped up to that challenge, but we did pretty well. And I think 20 out of our 22 boards have improved tremendously and are ready to handle this challenge. And part of their challenge is know your labor market. In this economy, it's going to be incredibly important. Integrate your services. Change the way your CareerLink, and that's the name of our one-stops, do business. And when we had our crisis of unemployment insurance issues in the end of December and the beginning of January, at one point, on one day, we had 1 million busy signals in our UI system. Now, UI is not under my deputate. It's in another deputate in Pennsylvania. But it was pretty clear that we had to work together on this. In our CareerLinks, we do have phones that go directly to that system. My office, when I'm in Philly, is in a CareerLink. So I'm there every Monday, every Friday, I'm in a CareerLink. I see what's going on. I saw the numbers explode. And we saw people come in and wait on that phone and wait on that phone. And sometimes when they got through, they wouldn't hang up. They'd hand it to the next person, right? You know, until the person on the other end, I think, got exhausted and finally hung up. So we had to really invest. And then we said, you know what? We're going to have to take UI applications at our CareerLinks. So we did that. So now we take in all of our CareerLinks, all 67 CareerLinks in Pennsylvania. You can come in, you can apply on paper, you can apply online in our system, because that's what has to happen in a crisis. And our boards and our folks said, you know what, that's why we're here. That's our job. Now, admittedly, there was some grousing, but most of the time, our staff just stepped right up, the WIA staff stepped up, and we did a good job with that. Fortunately, we also were able to hire 400 more folks for the call centers, so our busy signals are getting down to a level that is perhaps still unacceptable, but at least tolerable. Now if you don't get through, you get put on the queue, and you wait perhaps 10 or 15 minutes. We also invested in our regional career education partnerships for our youth organizations. We basically said, you know, our youth councils do great work. We want to connect them to our industry partnerships. They're not connected. So we have grants that went to them, and I think in this economy they'll be very useful with the recovery monies that are coming. And we saw back in, I guess, the midsummer that this was going to be a difficult economic time. We did not foresee how bad it was, or else I would have moved a lot of money differently in my 401k. But we did come up with something with a plan for putting out new money to our locals, and we came up with something called PA stimulus grants. Now I know, apologies, people don't want to use the word stimulus for the federal dollars, but we're going to use it for the Pennsylvania dollars. Now these are basically our discretionary dollars and some of our rapid response dollars. And we've come up with a strategy for three things. Upskilling grants. This is basically to pay for people to go back to college, longer skill training, get a degree, get a certificate, and then get back into an area where there is hiring going on. Second one is career pathway grants, where we're going to be putting money out so that people can get assessments and then get intervention and then get certification. So these are shorter term grants. And the final grant would be for OJTs, on-the-job training, where you can basically do a wage subsidy of 50%. And so we're saying, with the money we have right now, not saying anything about the federal recovery dollars that may come, but we've designed these programs so that we can take the federal dollars and flow them into these dollars. And Bruce has given us, I think, a number of great new ideas for how we might possibly prepare our system for the recovery dollars. What we want to do also is to challenge our community colleges and our other training organizations to help us put together these cohorts of dislocated workers so that we don't try to do this one ITA at a time. I think these are great ideas that Bruce gave about changing the requirements, about changing the amounts. We were looking at some of those things, those very same things ourselves. And we were thinking about trying to put together cohorts of 20 to 25 dislocated workers and give an incentive to the community college to design a program specifically for that group. Specifically, and everyone would be entered into our performance management system. So the college wouldn't have to track them themselves. But because they would be all dislocated, there would be no other non-participants. But it would require, of course, that the colleges, community colleges, whatever, not think about this as a semester basis. They're going to have to come up with some real innovative ways that connect the training and these cohorts to jobs that still exist.